Happy World Earth Day! Or if you are looking at this in the future, this video was uploaded on April 22nd. Nonetheless, we just needed an excuse to bring you something special. I consider myself to be really lucky because I have car friends who are in the same car hobby that I am, all over the place, literally everywhere in the country. And one such friend lives behind this inconspicuous gate in Goa. He calls himself after, well, a rusted dry fruit, and he has a car that I've been meaning to get my grubby paws on for the last few months. And it's not what you expect. There he is.
Don't worry, she doesn't bite. You're late?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Good.
Hands are dirty?
Yeah.
That's okay. Come. How are you? Good girl. Speedster.
Come, check out the Speedster. Yeah.
No, this isn't an actual Porsche Speedster, but one that Deep here, who also goes by the name the Rusty Cashew, built himself, like with his actual bare hands, because he wanted one so badly. It's really an actual absolute piece of art, and I wish we had provisions in India where custom one-off cars were road legal, because this would look an absolute treat going down the street. Deep, this is epic, the Speedster, hand-built. I mean, just such a cool looking thing. And the E30 is super cool and the Mercs are like super cool, but that's not what I came here to drive.
What did you come here to drive?
That.
You want to drive the Nano?
Yeah, I mean, the moment you said you were getting one, dude, I had to fly to Goa and drive it. I had to. So keys?
Keys in the car? Yeah?
I'm gonna be gone a while, so don't stay up.
Sounds good.
You know, I never thought I'd be behind the wheel of a Nano once again for a video, let alone in 2023. But there is a good reason, and I don't know if you can hear the audio coming from your speakers, but the Nano, the normal Nano, was a clattery little engine. This one is quiet. All I can hear is the noise from the tires and a little bit of wind noise. And that's because this Nano is electric. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the news pics, you've seen all the rumor mills, you've seen the Instagram posts. A Nano electric is what we're driving today. But unlike all those posts and all those news bits, Tata Motors isn't doing a brand new Nano electric. That's not happening, that's never happening. The Nano will never meet current safety regulations, crash regulations, seat belt regulations, airbag regulations, and any other regulations that you can actually throw at it. Then what the f are we driving it for? Well, why not? But before everything else, what you want to know is why? What? Like, what the actual f is this car? And where did it come from? It's a car from 2019. It's not made by Tata Motors, but it's made by somebody or an automaker that was really close to Tata Motors in terms of its development processes. Jayem Auto. Now, Jayem Auto, of course, is well known for the JTP cars, the Tiago and the Tigor JTP. Tata's small yet futile attempt at doing performance or enthusiast-oriented cars for the Indian market. This doesn't have a Tata badge. It has something called Neo. And it's not Keanu Reeves from The Matrix. You don't need a red pill and blue pill to drive this car. The Neo was Jayem's attempt at taking Tata bodies or Nano bodies, which Tata provided to Jayem, and making an electric version out of it. Now, they only made a few cars. I believe the number is close to about 300 or so. And they only made them really for taxi market aggregators. Now, though, a whole bunch of them have suddenly come up on sale. And they're all over OLX and they're all over Facebook Marketplace, and they go for about 3 or 4 lakh rupees. Now, when these were new in 2019, these were about 8 lakh rupees, and I believe Ola bought a whole bunch of them. And now I believe Ola is selling a whole bunch of them too. And the other bunch that is being sold is some private aggregator who bought a whole bunch of cars and then defaulted on a loan. At least that's what the story or the rumor mill is.
Look, I won't let this get boring, but here's a small bit that we do need to talk about. Firstly, that Neo badge replaces all the Tata Motors badges everywhere. No Nano badges on this either. Unless, of course, you see the small little badges in the headlights. Even the wheel covers, they look like the standard ones, right? They aren't, because there is no Tata badge. Some real thought went into these so as not to have any time spent with lawyers.
Specs, really sort of basic, rudimentary 17 kilowatt hour battery pack, 14 kilowatt, that's about 20 horsepower, which is nothing. It's really small and really basic. And to be honest, this thing is meant to be driven around the city. It's a small little car. I mean, it's true to the Nano form, isn't it? The Nano really wasn't a highway car. This really isn't a highway car. I mean, the Nano at least did 100 kilometers per hour. This struggles to get past 70. And that's on a really long road with your leg flat on the accelerator, giving it as much juice as possible. But again, this is an urban sort of mobility tool, okay? It drives pretty much like the normal Nano, with the exception of the lack of that clatter from the back, so from that two-cylinder engine that's rear mounted. Instead of that two-cylinder engine, the batteries go there, and the motor, of course, goes there. And this thing has stiffer front springs and more bracing on the front to make it slightly handle better.
It also has all the other bits that made it a Nano. You know, that absolute lack of any creature comforts, the infotainment system, or the lack of an infotainment system, an instrument cluster that makes the Nokia 3310 look like an iPhone 15 Pro Max.
We got those little dashboard panels which are really flimsy, but it's also got all that Nano character that made all of us really like it. You speak to an auto journalist and ask them about the Nano, and almost every single one of them will tell them that they had a great experience with one. Drove it across the length of the country, had a long-termer. I had a long-termer with an AMT, which was really good fun to drive. But this is what the Nano's progression should have been. This is what Tata Motors should do with the Nano nameplate, a small urban mobility tool. Sadly, we know for a fact that they're never going to do that, because the Nano is, for all intents and purposes, a dead product.
Can't help but wonder though, especially since we have just had the MG Comet showcased here in India, a car that is literally a modern interpretation of this. But then, with Tata already killing it in the EV space, do they really need a sub-Tiago product?
So range, that's what you want to really know, right? I mean, if you are going to buy an electric car, that's the one that really matters. Now, ideally, you should get about 150 plus kilometers of range on this, which in an ideal world, when you actually drive it on the road, you're not really ever going to get. You're going to get about, say, 120 to 130 kilometers of range. But even that 120 to 130, frankly, should be decent enough, because at the end of the day, look, this is, as I mentioned, an urban mobility tool, which is why, although there's a highway right there on my right, I'm sticking to the service lane, because this thing likes cruising at about 60 kilometers an hour, and at 60, that charge or that range number quickly depletes.
Oh, and also if you think you're just gonna quickly pop off to your nearest quick charger and get some juice, yeah, no, it's not gonna do that. It doesn't support any of that. It's old school EV, remember? Slow and steady there. Just like the tortoise, which it incidentally looks like.
So should you buy one? Well, at 4 lakh rupees, that's what people are asking, 4-5 lakh rupees, you can get a lot more car for your money. Could you get an electric car for that much money? Well, you'll probably get something like a used E20 from Mahindra, which definitely is going to be slightly older than this, and in my opinion, maybe a little bit less refined. But if you really do want to just drive around in a very limited space, and you must have an electric vehicle, then by all means go and find one on the internet.
In fact, I kid you not, I tried to find one of these on the way back to the airport. I even thought of giving Deep an offer on his one, but I know he really likes it. I don't want to do that to a friend. And you know what I'd do with mine? I'd make it really swanky on the inside. Nice seats, some nice infotainment, and I'd fix that bloody moody AC.
For now though, I'm going to drive around a bit more and see if I get that actual range that it shows, or if it's being over generous with its figures.